In April of 2024, a new trial map was released. It was made up of 18 checkpoints scattered across a whole range of obstacles and challenges, intentionally designed to be confusing and frustrating. With an author time of 3.5 hours, it was set to be a monumental task to beat. Over the course of the following 11 months, nobody wanted to beat it. The route itself was not completely understood, as some of the obstacles looked impossible to beat. And yet one day in March 2025, it saw its first 3 finishers. Eventually, I beat the world record twice. This video showcases the world record, with the commentary talking about the difficulties of each of the checkpoints and showing how they were finished. This is the story of my craziest world record. This is Bob's Revenge. The map begins with a dark maze that will bring you out just behind the finish. However, a quick turnaround and we can completely skip it, going past the finish ring in the process. Once we're out of the tiny gap, we can make our way towards an anti-booster into an uphill. The first surprise of the map is a hidden ring checkpoint just behind the drop. Grab a quick reverse and get the checkpoint. Take in checkpoint number 1. This checkpoint contains many obstacles over the following minute, including ducks, the rally car, and these elevators. It is very easy to flip over here if we take too much speed, so patience is key. Once out of the elevators, we jump across some ice pipes into the snow car gate, making sure not to miss the road and to be thrown across the map by the bumpers. 3 booster magnet loops take us to a small ramp that can easily be used to jump over the edge, so a small wallbang to slow down fixes this issue. We must grab the stadium car here as there are no further car gates later on, and the stadium car is necessary. My first try of the map didn't use this and found out the hard way why it doesn't work. The next checkpoint is at the top of a wet plastic slope, requiring some slippery precision to make it. A reactor gate at the top is daring us to jump. Behind is a large halfpipe made up of straight bobsleigh roads, loosely connected together. Turning around to grab the super reactor up allows us to make it to the top just in time. Landing this is not always easy, but coming out on the edge of the bobsleigh flips us over nicely before the plastic loop. It is then a simple no-grip magnet slide through a quarter pipe towards 2 pipes into the checkpoint. However, navigating onto the pipes with no grip is no easy feat to get to the reset, and unfortunately, there is a small gap just before the end of the pipe, leading to my first respawn. The idea for the bobsleigh halfpipe was to take a reactor down and climb to the top. However, because of the misalignment of each of the bobsleigh blocks, this is far less consistent. For our second attempt at the pipes, we were successful, making it through to checkpoint 3. This checkpoint is the first tedious one. An awkward, undulating ice path between plastic walls makes for a frustrating time. Shortly followed by 9 consecutive ice slides meandering down the road like a poorly drawn river. Reaching the end is a nah bumper. Called as such due to the reaction of players when they first encounter one. Using this bumper, we are thrown towards a tiny plastic platform in the distance at maximum speed, timing a precise air brake to land on the front of the roof of the car, to bounce over to the following platform, praying the car doesn't flip on the landing. Then, it is a simple jump up to get to the next checkpoint. Here lies a very dark room, so I'll boost the exposure so we can see. The map itself does not have this, and it is driven completely blind. One mistake and the car is thrown about wildly, probably through the walls or the ceiling. Carefully navigating this requires practice, but it is a short and easy checkpoint once known. This leads to checkpoint 5 and to some further bumpers. 3 bounces in a row propel us at the stadium where we need to successfully land. The first attempt was a dead turtle, so we'll try again. Carefully lining the car up for the bumper, mostly straight. Then 1, 2, and 3 bounces, and we land. A simple climb followed by a jump through a part of the stadium to checkpoint 6, 1/3 of the way. An uphill ice section onto a narrow beam, a particularly tricky part, where it is very easy to fall off. Dropping into the dirt, gaining speed and bouncing off of the bumper, hoping to land on the magnet wall. The first attempt was a failure, and respawn number 3 was necessary. Looking at the rest of the checkpoint, it looks very difficult. A climb over the magnet to a reactor into a dirt wall. Then 8 red boosters into a bumper that will throw us across the map into a tiny landing zone, where we'll then continue around and eventually get to the stadium roof. It does not look easy. My original idea for my first completion was to do a stadium roof climb to skip all of the difficult parts, giving something learnable rather than luck-based. However, this was also very difficult and took a long time to set up. After 2 respawns, we finally land on the magnet. Climbing to the other side requires patience, as a magnet yeet is inevitable if we go too fast. Then we will utilise the nair bumper with the reactor to launch us high into the air. With some adjustments, we can fly directly to the roof of the stadium. The landing can cause issues, but not this time. All we have to do from here is work our way to the checkpoint. A little bit of clambering around the support struts of the stadium, and we make it. The next 2 checkpoints are here. For some reason, they are both here, and both need to be collected at once. But carefully, as this is not double respawnable, so messing up as we go through the checkpoint is simply not an option. For this checkpoint, we head back under the stadium roof. Here lies some narrow wooden beams, which have wood grip, making it very easy to fall off when carrying speed. However, this is soon changed as we head through a no-grip gate. The wood is now effectively ice. As we slide about heading towards the reset block, we then readjust before reaching the next bumper. With a lineup from the back of the long wooden block, it is simply PF to the next bumper. The rotation bounces the roof on the second bumper, maintaining the momentum and reaching the pool at the top. But we are still not done. This time there is a wet wheel reactor bumper. Wet wheels mean you cannot slow down once you are in the air. Fortunately, from just inside the pool, press forward works again, throwing us straight into the ring, and without an unlucky bounce, we land in the pool for checkpoint 9, halfway. A quick drop down onto the wood, carrying enough speed so we don't turtle on the landing, and then a quick turnaround and a drop into the dirt section. This part isn't too difficult, except for a climb over the border of a tilted road, making sure to carry enough speed for the front wheels to bounce enough to get over. And then, straight onto the red boosters and a no brakes block. Carrying too much speed here will be uncontrollable, as we will be getting more boosters and a cruise control further along. Some tactical wall hits to slow down are necessary, although perhaps not this many. A small water bounce and a turn leads us to checkpoint 10, the most frustrating of them all. It starts with some anti-boosters, which we'll have to snake across to get to the other side. There is a faster way to alternate the steering to make it across, but it is difficult to do consistently. Once across these, we will have very low speed as we hit the cruise control, which will maintain our speed. As we can see, there are numerous slow motion blocks, giving us a 4 times slowdown with very low speed. Once we reach the other side of the slow-mo rings, there is a fragile block and another nair bumper. Using this bumper, we will fly through the air yet again and have to snipe a reset ring in the distance. This is very far. With the cruise control, we will never make this, so we need a solution. Hidden behind this plastic lump is a tiny part of the reset gate hidden under the floor. We've got to get to this before we reach the fragile block. One more complication with the fragile effect. Anytime a nair bumper is used, the car will be damaged 100%, so keep this in mind. The replays also do not show the physical damage of the car, so it can be hard to see. We are almost at the reset block, 2 minutes after reaching the checkpoint. We just don't want to miss it. And we did! With a small wheel clip, we missed the reset. Fortunately, we are moving so slowly we can simply turn around. The slow-mo also wears off after some time. Then, a precise backwards lineup as far left of the bumper as possible, and we get launched. No acceleration is used throughout the whole flight to reduce airtime as much as possible to snipe the reset ring. And we just miss it, bouncing off the edge of it onto the ground. We still have 100% fragile, and none of the reset blocks here are reachable. But more importantly, the slight incline towards the end of the checkpoint cannot be climbed. So we go again, another 2 minutes before we can try hitting the reset. First, we will speed up the video through the slow-mo section. And we missed it again, bouncing off the top of the ring this time. Speeding through the slow-mo once again, we get the reset cleanly, and then line up for the bumper. And finally, we get it, 6 minutes after starting the checkpoint. This text that has popped up onto the screen remains on the screen for the rest of the run when playing, but I'll remove it for your viewing pleasure. Now we have got the reset, we can continue up towards the next checkpoint. 2 red boosters and a fragile block uphill give it some difficulty. We can't wallbang to slow down as the fragile will break the car. We might be able to send it straight to the checkpoint with a lucky flight, but this is not something I'd want to try after the previous slow-mo section. So we turn around instead. Boosters are less effective in reverse, so we can easily pass through them without any issues. Finally, just before the checkpoint, we must line up through another set of slow-mo rings into another bumper that will throw us straight at the checkpoint. But because it's a ring checkpoint, cannot double respawn, we need to get this landing first time. Once again, I'll speed up the slow-mo. And we make it, with a lucky bounce afterwards too. At this point, the car is 100% fragile from the previous fragile ring. We still need to get to the next reset. Carefully adjusting to get over the stands and slowly make our way over there. This checkpoint is an underwater gauntlet. Poles and spinners all getting in the way, trying to eliminate the car. Getting through this without having to reset at the checkpoint is very difficult. But what's this? We're not going that way. The next checkpoint is on a black platform here. There is no direct way up, but I did find a shortcut. Climbing up to the platform behind it, we can gather some speed. Getting maximum speed and hitting the flat bit of the slope we climbed up can get us to the checkpoint, right? We'll try again, lining up the same way as usual. We'll try to get further to the left to start with, to give us more space to bounce on the flat part. But it was too far left, and we fall and dead turtle. so we respawn again, but get a bad landing on the plastic. The second time works a charm though. Speeding it up, the next 2 minutes of attempts were unsuccessful, just going up and down the slope, trying to get the right bounce. Until finally we get this attempt. Heading out far to the left, bouncing and just making it far enough. This checkpoint requires us to navigate the platforms we were just on. No grip through some narrow wood beams, climb a magnet pipe, and reach a no steer, no brakes, cruise control underwater section. This has spinners, pushing block, and no ramp to get out. However, the ramp we used before can be used again. It is angled towards the checkpoint, but it is a very far distance away. But we are gathering speed, monumental speed. The line is tight, passing under a bridge with kill planes, but only on the right side. We must avoid them and still line up for the jump. With over 600 speed, we hit the side of the ramp. And we land it. There's no time to hang about. We're going into the bobsleigh immediately, hitting 3 red boosters and flying towards a landing platform. We must land exactly sideways so we don't fall off the map or the edges of the wood. A very precise trick. Next up is a wood climb. Going uphill on wood will slow the car down, as the acceleration at low speed is very poor. We will just make it to the top, going diagonally to maximize speed. Another small uphill and around the corner to the most tedious part of any map I have ever played. A narrow, bumpy, plastic uphill. It is not difficult, but it is not press forward either. Small adjustments to speed and angle are necessary to not flip out or fall off of the platform, and it is tremendously tall. This first section alone takes 2 minutes to summit, but I'll speed it up. Many tiny adjustments, and gradually, eventually, we reach the top. Now we must navigate a few moving blocks before we reach the next uphill. Another 30 seconds of climbing, and we reach yet another plateau. Being careful not to fall into the hole, making us restart from the bottom. One last minute-long stretch of climbing to go. And finally, we've reached the top. Here are checkpoints 14, 15 and 16, all within a few seconds of each other, unlinked. Checkpoint 16 has 2 routes. The intended route is marked with 2 tiny arrows in the middle of the screen. Here we must drop down through a hole onto a bumper that will take us straight to the checkpoint. This is a surprisingly difficult drop down to make, but the alternative is not much better. After navigating a windy road, there is a bumper that will take us into the sky. If we hit the road border as we hit the bumper, we can avoid the second bumper and aim for the landing zone, a quarter pipe of magnets. Landing with enough speed to unturtle immediately, we have completed the final difficult section of the map. A brisk turnaround to take us to a long drop. Here we will drop down, landing on our nose to best avoid a turtle, and then we can reach the penultimate checkpoint. More boosters into a super reactor and a weird looking transition. A shortcut is feasible here, but annoying to achieve with the reactor. Instead, we will drive up the halfpipe, drive around the roof, and down the second halfpipe. The fragile block into 3 red boosters is scary, but the fragile block is mixed in with another road block, so it is ineffective. Navigating some more turns and holes, we reach the final checkpoint. A double loop with some more red boosters into a quarter pipe transition that I do mess up, hitting the block at the top and falling roof down towards the floor. Fortunately for us, a lucky bounce rights the car, and we can continue. There was just one more section to go. A slalom, reminiscent of checkpoint 3. It's easy to carry too much speed here and fall, but if we reach the end, all we have to do is one jump. 2 arrows direct us, and we jump, and try not to get a bad landing. We land, we bounce, we do a little dance, and we're back on our wheels. All that's left is to reach the finish we passed right at the start. A little bit of time lost through the narrow gaps, but we make it, taking the world record with a 28-minute, 49-second run. This whole run had 11 respawns and lost just under 9 minutes on the full potential, with a sub-20 no respawn time. This is a genuinely insane map, and will take a long time to get a finish on. Hunting the world record is another beast entirely. But that's it for Bob's Revenge. Go and check it out for yourself if you really want to. It can be found in the description. But that's everything. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.